Here are 4 simple ways to improve your drumming today. Here's number 1. What I want you to do is take any flam rudiment that you already know and already play, and then practice it with the flams in unison. So what that means, if you've watched our previous videos, is you're gonna take your flams, both hands together, and make it so that they hit perfectly together. They're not flams anymore. You're actually doing a double stop. It's called a double stop, right? What?
What's a double stop?
Never mind. Okay, so the flutists don't know. Wait, yeah, flutists don't play 2 notes at a time. That's right. You're gonna play both hands together perfectly. No flaming whatsoever. It's very difficult to do at first, and you can really try to hone that in by itself. And then you take whatever flam rudiment you want, and flatten those flams, play them in unison. So let's say a flam tap. Flam right, flam left. That becomes together, right, together, left, together, right, together, left. It's really good to be able to do this because when you're playing between your cymbals or a cymbal and a snare drum, the flam is a very different flavor than the unison notes. It's really important that any pattern you can play with a flam, you can play with your hands together, because that's going to be a much cleaner sound and timing to use for different situations. Tip number 2 is to control the volume, the dynamics of your limbs separate from each other. A simple example would be just in a groove setting, playing any simple beat that you already know how to play. You can really control the volume of your right and left hands separate from each other, really create a lot of contrast. This is essential to practice so that you can dial in just the right volume of every element of your kit. You can then use that when you're playing on the kit. This way, you're practicing control over your dynamics on a very granular level. You can get the dynamics of your ghost notes just the way you want compared to the volume of your hi-hat or other elements of the kit. You can even practice this with unison exercises. So if you're playing with both hands in unison as 8th or 16th notes, try to control the dynamics of each hand so that they're different levels from each other, different heights from the pad or drum. It's a really powerful thing to practice. Tip number 3. Now this is one of the most important things you can do on any instrument, and that is to sing it, to think it first. Rather than just play the patterns, the stickings, the rudiments you know and use, try to think of a melody first. Or rather, while you're playing, think up a melody. This way, you're coming from a different place. You're not just regurgitating the same patterns that you're used to playing that your hands do automatically. You're being much more musical with what you're doing, and you're able to sing and create something from your own inner voice. I used to do this a lot where I would copy the melodies, rhythm, and phrasing of rap songs. So I would take my favorite Kanye or NWA songs and play right along, get into the groove and pocket of the beat, and then I would actually copy the phrasing of the raps with my kick and snare. It helped me make a connection between my inner voice and the instrument, where I was able to say something from a different place than just playing patterns, playing paradiddles. Here's my last tip for today. When you need something to practice, when you sit there and say, I don't know what to practice, practice something you already know. Don't go trying to learn a new sticking, a new pattern every day. Rather, take one pattern, figure out everything you can do with it. So learn to orchestrate your patterns, learn to turn them into grooves, learn to swap your hands between two different elements, left hand lead or right hand lead. Learn to add flams and what I call internal rudiments into your pattern. So add a couple diddles into whatever pattern you're working on. If you're working on a hand pattern, practice placing your kick drum in different parts of the beat, or work on that hand pattern over top of different foot patterns to gain independence and work on your coordination. All these things are going to greatly improve your confidence on the kit when you can really master one pattern at a time. I found it so useful to take this approach over the years. So even though I can't play everything, I really can't play everything, I can play a couple things and I can play them pretty well. And that's enough for me.